Icebreaker today for the 17th time. Welcome, Ray.
Sorry, what's the time again? 6, 7, 8 to 10.
Oh, sorry, yes, 8 to 10.
Who remembers September 1975? Who's alive in 75? I remember September 1975 very clearly. It was the month that my girlfriend Sandra and I left our homes, our family homes, and moved a whopping 30 miles away to another community to start nursing college. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. I chuckle even saying the term, my girlfriend Sandra. We've been married 39 years now. It's been a long time that I've ever been able to, I guess she's still my girlfriend, but she's been my wife for 39 years. This evening I want to share a little bit about my experience going to college and becoming a nurse. I was entered in what was called a diploma nursing program in a community college in Orillia, Ontario. And the year that I went into school, in 75, we were still somewhat of an experiment. We're an experiment in the sense that only the year before, the nursing courses, the nursing diploma program was taken over by the community colleges. Up until that point, probably back until the days of Florence Nightingale, nursing training was done in the hospital where you were part staff, unpaid staff, slave labor for the hospital, and the nursing school was run by the nursing matron. And that only stopped the year before in 1974. So I was in the second class in 75 of the college model. Now they changed the rules a little bit because up until that point, they had certain criteria. They opened the doors the year before. One, they admitted, this is shocking to think about, divorcees. There was no divorced women were allowed to be nurses in Ontario up until that point, because who knows. And if you can believe it, there were no men. There were no male nurses up to that point. The class before me, 5 were admitted. And in my class, I was the only male in the class. So there was me, 62 women, and I mentioned my girlfriend? My girlfriend Sandra. So there was me and 63 women. I was the most popular guy in class. I got the top marks for any guy in the class. Everything worked out well for me. It was great. Did I mention that I had my girlfriend with me? That might have been the one mistake, but I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sure how that one played out. I want to share a couple stories from my nursing experience. One of the experiences that I really remember, and we have a quasi-theme this evening, a self-confidence for our meeting here. And when you enter an educational program, it doesn't matter really what it is, you don't come in from a strong position. You may have had experience in jobs or careers that you've had in the past, but you don't necessarily have it in the new profession that you're taking on. So when I went from dietary to nursing. Sure, they took place in a hospital, but there really wasn't any connection. So I had to learn the basic skills of nursing. And I can recall one of the skills we had to learn was basic bed making. And there is a technique, I still use it now, this basic bed making technique. There's also how to give a bed bath. So this is for a patient that is in the bed. You have to give them a bed bath and make their bed. Well, we had this large room that had about a dozen, the old style beds, they're probably leftovers from the hospital, these big cast iron beds, and we all paired up. Well, me being the only male, my partner was a mannequin, a dummy, one of these mannequins that they used for practicing. It looked very much like a store model that could have been wearing a clothing before that. This time they just had a nightgown on. And everybody else was paired up with one of the other girls in the class. And they were terrified because they had to undress their partner, bathe them, and make the bed. And they're all worried that, of course, the male in the class is going to be watching, so they're terrified of that part. But, and you know, I could have looked at it as being, you know, as a red-blooded Canadian male is a great opportunity. I know I sound like a lech when I talk about it. But believe me, I was so focused on the task that I had, I don't even remember seeing anybody else in that room. What we had to do was we had to bathe the patient, and I had the mannequin, and then make the bed. So everything went perfectly for me. We had these two, I say older teachers. Back when we were 20-something years old, we called them dinosaurs. And when I think back, they're probably younger now, younger than I am now, but we called them dinosaurs. But we really liked them. They were really good nurses. And they were monitoring me. They're keeping an eye on me. They went around, they checked everybody out, but for whatever reason, they wanted to focus on me. So I give my mannequin, my dummy, a perfect bed bath. Well, anybody here have a medical background, nursing background? You ever made a bed a nursing way? Well, what you have to do, there is a secret to it. You have to do your bed bath. You roll your patient onto their side so that they're comfortable. You put the side rail up, okay, the side rail up, roll them to the side, and then you have to start the bottom layer. Back in those days, they didn't have fitted bottom sheets. You had to put a regular sheet on, you had to fold it in underneath the mattress, proper miter corner on each end, and then fan fold it underneath the patient. The next one over top of that was called a rubber draw sheet. If you worked in a medical ward or other wards, patients tend to lose body fluid, so you had to protect the mattress. So that had to be folded perfectly. Then on top of that was the draw sheet that went over top of the rubber draw sheet. And then if that wasn't enough, you still had to put on the top sheet. So everything was fan folded. Everything was perfect. And I did that perfectly. Everything worked out well. Bed bath was done. Half the bed was made until the point was you had to pull on it. You'd roll the patient over. They'll be on this side because they're already on this side. Roll them over, and then you pull everything over. That's the way that it was supposed to work. But this equipment that we had to work on was so antiquated that it never had any side rails. So when I pulled the sheet, everything, can you imagine what happened at this point?
The dolly went off.
My dolly, hello Dolly, my dolly rolled off and took the sheets and everything off with them. And of course, the olders, the birds, they looked at, they just started laughing. They thought it was hilarious. When they said, well, Ray, it looks like you know what you're doing. Just finish up, just leave them on the floor. Just carry on with making your bed. So I carried on making the bed, and I don't have a coin on me, but this was like one of the jokes that they have, or not jokes, it's a Marine style, where they would get a quarter and they'd bounce it on the bed. So if you've made everything tight, that quarter should bounce. And they bounced, but fell off. But they actually did that. So that was the one example that I remember. Another example that, you know, we're talking about self-confidence here throughout this meeting, but I didn't have the self-confidence. And one of the tasks that we had to do, I don't know, this might be hard to believe, but when you think about nursing, do you know that as a nurse, you have to actually talk to patients? Do you know that? I don't think I was aware of it at the time when I went into nursing. So I did not have the communication skills. I did not know